everyone, I'm Rachel. In today's tutorial, I'll teach you how to create autumn scenery using the Color Therapy app. There's something magical about the changing colors of leaves in the fall, so I'll show you how to capture this mood. The splatter tool is your friend when it comes to creating bunches of leaves quickly. If you'd like to follow along, search for trees in the search box. To start off, you'll want to fill in the image with a base color for everything. So I'm going to start off by tapping in the leaves using a color from the autumn palette. I'm using the second color on the top row, and I'm just going to tap to fill in all the leaves. For the trees, I want them to be kind of dark, so I'm going to use a color from the Hair Shades palette. It's the second color on the second row, and tap to fill them all in with the branches as well. And then the first color on the second row next to that, let's just tap to fill in the pathway. Let's start off by shading the trees. So let's select the smudge tool first. Set the size to 70 and opacity at 40. You want to set coloring inside the lines mode 2 on, and then zoom into one of the trees, going from the outside areas, again, just to add in a shadow, just a soft shadow. We're going to have some light coming through this tunnel. So it'll be the lightest part on the trees on the edge that's closest to it. So you want to shade it in that way. We'll also use a splatter tool for details. Let's set the size to 45 and the opacity at 12. Now you can just tap in a few little splatters into the trees here. Now let's highlight the trees. So go back to the smudge tool, and back on the Hair Shades palette, use the 7th color on the second row. It's sort of a beige color. And we're just going to highlight those edges of the trees that are facing inward towards the tunnel. In that same palette, just choose that cream color and then lower the size about 40% and add in some more detail highlights. So we're just sort of highlighting the edges even more. And then for the trees that are the furthest away from us, you want to lower the size quite a bit more so that it matches the size of the trees. Just apply that to all the trees. Let's switch back to the splatter tool, and let's this time set the opacity to 65, and with black, add in a few more little splatters here and there for extra details on the trees. And then to finish those off, let's use the airbrush tool, set the size to 6% and opacity at 70, and then using our highlight color from before, that beige color, you can add in a few little details into the trees. So these will be like pieces of bark and little blemishes here and there. Lower the size as needed for further trees. Now let's work on the leaves. So go back to the splatter tool. Set the size at 50 and opacity at 100. Going back to the autumn palette, select the first color on the top row. Make sure coloring inside the lines mode is still set to on. You're going to just begin to tap in some splatters into each section of the leaves. So this will help create the illusion that there's a whole bunch of leaves, that they're sort of blending together instead of looking like big chunks of orange. And then for the leaves that are the furthest away from you, just lower the size a little bit so that it looks more realistic. From that same palette, you can also use any of these other colors. For example, this peachy orange color too, and tap it in a few areas, or even this reddish color. And remember just to raise the size for the leaves that are a little bit closer. Now let's add in some more details. So just select the pen tool, set the size to 1 and opacity at 100. And then using the same color for the trees, just zoom into an area, and then you can add in some more manual branches here and there, just poking through. And then for the branches closer up, just raise the size to 2% and go all the way up to 5%. And then just adding in your own branches sticking through the trees. You can use the same settings, and you can also add in your own leaves that are falling down. Just set coloring inside the lines mode 2 off, and then with one of the leaves colors, you can just draw a large leaf that's like falling down into your view and raise the size and just fill it in. And then you can lower the size and just draw in some veins from the leaf. And then I would recommend using the smear tool and just sort of like blend it a little bit just so it looks kind of blurry in front of the frame of view. Now optionally, you can also draw in some shadows from the trees across the path. So use the airbrush tool, set the size to 100 and opacity at 70. Using that cream color from the Hair Shades palette, just draw a little bit of a lighter area in the path coming downward. And then for the shadows, just select black, set the airbrush tool to size 65 and opacity at 50. And then going across the image from one of the trees, just draw a shadow and just continue that downward. You can lower the size a little bit the further that you get. And then with the smaller size of the airbrush tool, just add in a few little branches, just going across the path. You can also make the tunnel bright white and even add in a silhouette of a person for more interest. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.